This video is to tell you why we're doing what we're doing on Albert's website.
Because every child is different and every adult is too, and we change as we grow and develop.
So, shall we go and develop that idea?
Yeah.
You see, I sometimes think that those running our education system don't cater for these differences. To give you some idea, a recent government white paper was entitled "Strong Schools with Great Teachers for Your Child."
Its objective was to make sure that every child reaches the same level at the same time, but sadly, in our view, as with all plans like this, they are trying to achieve that en masse and not individually.
The main concern for the government seems to be in the area of numeracy and literacy, and while we all need these skills, concentrating on getting them to some predetermined level can overshadow some other just as important parts of learning.
Also, to assume that all children will attain these skills at the same level and at the same time doesn't allow for the individual learning to happen in each child's own mind. Oh, hello Colin. Colin says that all children have a natural desire to learn. They have a natural desire to walk and to talk without any formal teaching at all.
We believe that learning is fed by curiosity. There is an old saying that the cure for boredom is curiosity. There is no cure for curiosity. Children are born curious, and some of us believe that they are actually educated out of it.
The young mind is the easiest to cultivate, but also the easiest to stifle. And if you're too busy and keep ignoring a child's questions, they will eventually just stop asking.
The important thing in cultivating learning is not to stop children asking questions, indeed, to encourage them to ask questions. Curiosity has its own reason for existing, and that is not in slow motion.
The real job of those of us that are involved in providing learning material is to stimulate that curiosity and create in young children, and indeed in everyone, an infectious desire to learn.
Albert's World of Learning is a unique and innovative resource. Its main aim is to focus on creativity and imagination in education and to help young people find out more about their world. Because that is the world they're going to run in future years.
The whole purpose of education should be to turn mirrors into windows, and instead of reflecting back on what we already know, we should look outwards for new views where different thoughts can come up with new ideas.
Albert Szent-Györgyi, a 1938 Nobel Prize winner, said that discovery consists in seeing what everyone has seen and thinking what no one else has thought. And that becomes even better if you expand that view, if you open those windows that Molly has been talking about, and let the young minds run riot.
At Albert's World of Learning, we don't call ourselves teachers, but rather facilitators of learning, guiding young people and using our experience gained through simply being around longer.
So we want to mentor, maybe cajole a bit, and take that inbuilt curiosity and marry it to a young person's imagination, another quality they're born with. Because without imagination, as a society, we will have no future.
There is no doubt that, as Albert Einstein once said, imagination is far more important than knowledge. If young people only hear from us what we know and repeat that in an exam, we will not make any progress. Neither is that a basis for education or learning.
Education should not be about exams, tests, grades. As Sir Ken Robinson said, learning happens in the minds and souls, not in the databases of multiple choice tests.
By providing a learning material that you can dip into at your own speed and in your own way, we believe that we are doing the best that we can.
Provide a child with something interesting to read and their literacy skills will grow. Throw in the need for some basic practical maths and their numeracy skills will grow. Schools, by law, provide a certain education within a certain time frame to a certain curriculum. And even in the last few days, the leader of our country, our Prime Minister, was talking about making sure no child was ever going to be left behind. Now, unfortunately, Prime Minister, that is a very vacuous statement, because if you're talking about somebody being left behind, you do need to define behind what are they being left.
If we only base this on a set of core skills, such as maths, English and science as done with SATs tests, other skills, which are just as important, are being ignored. A child who fails their maths SAT test, but who is a brilliant musician, should not be classed as falling behind, merely developing in a different way.
Learning education happens just as much outside that rigid school environment as it does within it. And also, outside, there is more freedom to develop. If a parent could put aside just a couple of hours a week to help their child learn, it can make an enormous difference to their child's learning. And that's the very reason why we have developed this resource and why we are now entering into a new phase.
Our new School of the Air is specifically designed for home learning and will provide the necessary fun and help to fuel a child's curiosity, stimulate their imagination and give them a chance to be creative and think creatively. In our view, shared by others, curiosity is just as important as literacy.
I've spent much of the last 40 years trying to make education more accessible, more fun and less formal. I think this website is my best piece of work, and by bringing Molly on board, adding youth to experience, enthusiasm to the boring old staidness that some of us oldies may get, makes it even better. It may also be my last piece of work, but I hope not yours. The School of the Air has a small subscription, but that old proverb that if you think learning is expensive, try ignorance, really does apply.
Part of your expense may just be taking some time to encourage a young person's learning and set them on the path to finding learning infectious and fun.
Do help us to do that. I hope you will be part of our learning journey, and indeed our real journey.
You'll be surprised at how much you'll find out and how many questions you may have. As Francis Bacon said, travel in the younger sort is a part of education.
And in the elder, a part of experience. So join us for an educational experience. I knew that would go wrong. One more time. An educational experience.